Ramble.
Thank you to BetterHelp and Macy's for sponsoring this episode.
Welcome to today's episode of You Can Sit With Us. I'm Matt, and sitting next to me is Becky.
Hi.
Ariel.
Hi, Matt.
And our pixet, Rainie.
I can't keep a straight face when he does that.
You don't like my radio voice?
I love your radio voice. That's why I can't keep a straight face.
And welcome. Today we're going to talk about our parents.
That was a good start.
That was a good start.
So when you think about your mom, like what comes to your mind? Like what adjectives, what feelings, what thoughts? Like what two words would you use to describe your mother?
Don't look at me. Becky, you go first.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at me.
For my mom, I would say funny and little.
She is tiny.
She is a tiny little lady.
Yeah.
My mom is the life of the party.
Ooh, yeah.
What are some so the words that come up? She's fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's also like, I would say one of my best friends. I could really tell her things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I feel like that happens as you get older.
Oh, for sure.
Like I specifically remember having a conversation with my mom when I was in high school, and she was like, "I am not your friend. Don't." She's like, "This is not Gilmore Girls.
I do not want to know what you are going to tell me."
Okay.
She's like, "I'm a mom. You're a kid. When you're older, we'll talk."
Boundaries.
Yeah.
I think that's good though when you're younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your relationship should change. You know?
Yeah. I feel like it evolves as you get older.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh yeah, I could tell my mom
Yeah.
more things.
Yeah. So I'd say warm. My mom is warm and wild.
Warm and wild.
Warm and wild.
Yeah.
She used to do this thing where when it was when she would go to a restaurant and the drinks would arrive or something like that, she would go, and my sister and I would just be mortified.
And now you do this? Please tell me you do this.
I think about it and I'm like, yeah, I could see why. I feel that feeling. I just don't voice it.
Just bring light to her emotions.
You should just come up with another exclamation.
Yeah.
To do.
Something equally loud.
And embarrassing for your children.
Oh, man.
That's the goal, right? To embarrass your children as much as you felt like your parents embarrassed you.
I suppose, yeah.
I feel like you should do even more.
Yeah.
Really embarrass them.
I feel like now my goal is just to embarrass my parents as much as possible.
You've embarrassed your
now
parents?
I do it the other way. Yeah.
Like what?
I make
what do
my
you do?
mom sit on different objects. When we're out, I'll be like, oh, go sit. If there's a cow that kids sit on, I'm like, go sit on the cow. I'm going to take your picture. No, they make for really cute pictures. She's adorable. But yeah, I'll be like, go stand over there. Go do this. Yeah.
That's so funny. Did your parents embarrass you?
I'm trying to think if there's any time that I was like, oh, Mom.
I mean, yeah, but I can't remember a specific instance of being in public. Like that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You know?
What would be the two words that describe your mom?
Oh yeah, Betsy.
I feel like one of mine would be food.
Oh.
My mom was always cooking. Even though she worked full time and stuff, she was always cooking all the time. And then festivities, right? She was always ready for the holiday, all the decorations, all the parties.
She was always ready for a party.
All of those, definitely hostess, always.
Yeah.
Hostess with the most.
I remember one time that was embarrassing was my parents were hosting a New Year's Eve party. And so it was all the parents in the neighborhood and all the kids in the neighborhood came to our house.
Cute.
And the kids were having a sleepover upstairs in the playroom. And all the parents were downstairs, obviously getting drunk. It's New Year's. And so we went to go spy on them. And they're all downstairs, definitely tossed, doing the Macarena.
No.
Over and over again. Yes. I have a very specific memory.
Just A bunch
remember we were
of suburban parents doing the Macarena.
I remember we were all mortified, all the kids. So funny.
How old were you? Were you like 11?
It was like middle school, yeah.
Okay. It's like 13-ish. I was just thinking to myself, like, a whole bunch of kids upstairs and all the parents are just getting wasted downstairs.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful. Wonderful.
Well, this is some fodder for your parties, you know?
Yes.
Your future
For sure.
parties.
I mean, you guys will all be there. It will be your
We'll be
children
there,
upstairs.
we'll be doing the
Macarena.
We'll be doing the
Lead the Macarena.
Wes will be the oldest and he'll be like taking care of everybody and doing all of the mischief. No, it'll be Becky's kid doing the mischief.
Never.
They'd be like, let's go spy on my mom.
Let's go spy on mom. See what
Let's go steal $20.
I wonder if they have candy.
Yeah, basically.
What's your earliest memory that you have?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I honestly don't know. They get so intertwined with like
So, I mean,
things
it's
that my
hard,
parents
right?
have said.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Right?
I think the earliest memory that I have is just of like sunlight.
Nature.
No, well, not even that.
so
but
nice.
Her eyes opening. And
I was like,
cracking her booty.
you know, we lived in LA until I was 6, and I just remember this like overwhelming, like just sun. You know, just sun coming in through the windows, sun. I don't know, sunlight. People say that babies, especially like young kids, have very like sensorial memories, memories of like senses that they had.
Yeah. I feel like my memories are all of like smells.
Really?
Like when I'll like be transported by a smell, but not by like an actual memory. You know
Smell
what I
of
mean?
Interesting. Like what
Candy?
smells? Yeah.
Smell of candy.
I mean, for me, I think the biggest one was cigarettes because my grandpa smoked for a really long time until he was in like, I don't know, it's like 50s or 60s. But I like don't super remember him smoking. Like I just remember he had cigarettes in his, like he would roll them up in his sleeve.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like a movie.
Like in a movie. Yeah. I went as him for Halloween once and I like rolled up
Oh my God, that's funny.
some candy in my sleeve and wrote like a fake tattoo.
Candy cigarettes.
Yeah. But I feel like for me, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that smell. But I don't like,
It's a very distinct smell.
yeah, I don't remember
Yeah.
like
Cigarette
being
smell.
a baby and having like him smoke by me or something.
Right. What about you, Matt? Are you transported by anything?
I feel like my earliest memory is like water, like swimming.
Oh, really?
Because I was really big into like swim team and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Like all the way up to like kindergarten. So I feel like I remember just the feeling of the water.
Just being in the water.
Yeah.
Do you remember being tossed? Do you see
Right?
those
Thrown
babies
in.
that they throw?
There's something out
They
there.
do that like
Throw the
float
baby in.
test.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yes. Yeah.
They call it something special.
Yeah.
I had some like mom friends who are swear by it.
Yeah. You just chuck
Like-
the baby in the water.
Teach them so they just like
Yeah.
float so they don't drown and stuff if they were falling.
Yeah, they say it's like
That's
the
scary.
safest thing you can do
Good
for your
skill.
kids. And I'm like, I don't know about that, but more power to you. I'm going to raise my children the way I raise my children, and you do your thing. I'm not going to comment on that.
I feel like we need that for adults. Like I feel like I need to just be like thrown in water.
We can do that,
know.
Becky. We can make that happen.
There have been
We
a
can
few times.
definitely make that happen.
A few times where I've been like, oh,
Yes.
I feel like I don't know how to swim.
Are you saying you can't? I'm sorry. Are we saying, Becky? Are you saying that you don't know how to swim?
No, I know how to swim. I'm just not a strong swimmer.
We can get you some swim lessons. I know a swim instructor.
yeah.
I can hook you up.
But I want to be tossed in like the babies.
Okay.
I don't
I
think
just
it
want to be
works
catapulted.
We'll put you in the
after
wheelbarrow
you're
and go.
not a baby anymore.
Yeah. What else you got, Matt?
Can you do an impression of your mom?
I already did.
Oh, I guess you already did.
Oh
it.
yeah, should that? Can you do an impression of Betsy?
I don't know what to do. I don't know.
Can you do an impression of Betsy mad? Like I feel like
feel like
parents
my
are very
mom-
specific when they get mad.
I feel like my mom mad is the same as me mad.
That's probably true.
then that is scary. That means Betsy is scary.
That checks out.
Yeah, my mom was definitely more the disciplinarian, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
So when she would get mad, she would get really mad. So I feel like I have the same temper as her.
Yeah.
Like fine, and then all of a sudden just like
I do feel like you sort of hold it in until until it's really bad.
Yeah.
And then it's time to, because you're a pretty cool cat
Usually.
in like an emergency or a, like a situation. But then when it gets to be too much, it's like, oh God, everybody back away.
Daddy Matt comes out.
Yeah, watch out. Get out the way.
He's like, hi.
Can you do an impression of Kim?
I don't know if I can do an impression of Kim. I feel like she always does like an oh my God or like she's always like exasperated by like, it's probably because I'm embarrassing her at times where it's just like, she's like, what are you doing? And then when she gets mad, my parents don't really curse that much, but every once in a while they do.
Oh.
And so my mom was like, I feel like if she would get frustrated with something, she does what I do, where like you might like stub your toe and you're just like, shit. Like you just very like, shit. I feel like that's what she has. And then my dad doesn't really get that like angry.
Huh.
He's not like a...
Yeah, my dad doesn't get angry either.
He's a very like, I feel like he's like kind of a stereotypical dad. He's like a dad on TV.
TV dad. Do you remember when were your parents like the maddest at you?
Oh, I do
Growing
remember. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay.
What did you do, Ariel? What did you do?
It wasn't even. It wasn't like a super. Okay, I'll just tell the story, and you guys can tell me if it was a super awful thing or not. It was like emotionally awful. So after high school, when I was in college, actually this was before college. I was on a gap year in between high school and college, and I was living with my parents over like Christmas time, and we were at our house in London, and my mom is a collector of things in the same way that I am a collector of things, but we have very different taste in things. And so I was like, I think I was coming into my own of sort of, I need to have this space kind of clean. And I was also, I'm going through a transition period in my life. And I'm like trying to assert my own authority in many ways. And I've been on my own for the last 6 months, and now I'm living with my parents and they're telling me what to do. And so my mom and I get into this huge argument, and I told her that I didn't like her like things. I don't like all of your, I think I call them like kitsch. I call them tchotchkes. I was like, I don't like all of your things. Like, there's too many things. Why do you have all these things? And so I started like putting them into a box. It's like, why do we have to have all of these things out? There's so much clutter around here. So I started putting things into a box, and my mom, my dad and my sister.
This is my house.
Yeah, my dad and my sister are just watching this, and they're like, what is going to happen? It's just the two of us going at each other. My mom is like, you can't say that about my things. Like, that's so mean. And I honestly don't even remember like what she said. I think it was just really hurtful for me to say that, I don't like the way that you design your house, and I don't like that. I need space, Mom. Let me go. And like thinking back on it, of course, I know I can see what was going through my head, but at the time I was just throwing her like special things into a box, and I broke one of these like German ornaments. Just didn't talk to each other for like several days, and we went through my dad and my sister for any like communication that we needed to have.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about our good friend of the show, Macy's. I love going to Macy's. I think that they have a good variety of home, fashion, great gift package items. This week, we want to talk to you about a specific style that Macy's specializes in, and that is denim. I love denim. I love how versatile it is. You can dress it up, you can dress it down. There's so many different colors of denim that you can use, so many cuts. You can do a straight leg, you can do a bootleg. I have been loving lately straight leg jeans. They're just so comfortable. I don't love anything that's too tight on me, and I just feel like they're super comfy and soft. Macy's can help you find the cut that feels like it was made for you to rock it, whether it's a sleek straight leg, a more showy flare pair, or subtle denim logos and patchwork details. It's your style, so for all the denim inspo you need right now, visit macys.com/ownyourstyle. And if you need a nudge in the right direction, you can pair up with Macy's personal stylist in-store or at home for free. So head over to macys.com/personal stylist to book your appointment today. That's macys.com/personal stylist. Now, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Taking care of your mind is so important. Getting those 8 hours of sleep, doing trivia, doing some Sudoku, and there's also BetterHelp Online Therapy. I love using BetterHelp. I love having structured time in my week to make sure that I'm talking to a licensed professional. If this isn't something that I'm actively have planned out on my calendar, then it usually never happens. I love how easy it is. I love that I can access it through my phone or computer. With BetterHelp, you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Then choose to talk to them however you're most comfortable, over the phone, via video chat, or even through live chat-only sessions if you don't want to see anyone. Besides, it can be much more affordable than in-person therapy. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/sitwithus. That's betterhelp.com/sitwithus.
I feel like my story is kind of similar to when my parents were really mad at me, except I didn't break an ornament. I broke my brother. So it was an oopsie for sure. But we were riding our bikes, and as siblings do, we would fight all the time. Just like, I don't know, we were kids and we were really close in age. So we would get in little like scraps sometimes. And one time he hit me with his bike. He like ran his bike into mine. So I ran my bike into his, maybe hit it a little too hard. Michael goes flying off, lands straight on his chin, is knocked out, is fully unconscious. No. And then my fight or flight, took over, and I fled.
You left your unconscious
I ran away.
brother?
Yes, I ran away. I went back home. He was like down the street.
And then your parents like, where is your brother?
No, they didn't ask anything till a man knocked on the door. And he had my brother in his truck because he was at the bottom of a hill.
Oh my gosh.
And so then obviously I got
unconscious?
in a lot of trouble. No, he had woken up by then.
So obviously
Because he told the man where he lived. I mean, he was, going. It was a block away. I left him at the bottom of a hill.
That's wild.
That's the most trouble I've ever gotten into. But it was more that I didn't tell them that he was unconscious somewhere.
Uh-huh.
That was Rainie's looking at me like...
Yeah.
I would be mad as well.
I would be mad too.
Pretty trouble.
And we were little. We were probably like... I don't think we were teenagers. I think we might have been like 9 and 10.
What did they
10
do? Did they were you grounded for years?
Forever. I was grounded for forever. I was
still
just fully
haven't let you
grounded.
go.
Yeah.
No TV time.
No TV. No. I don't think I had a computer at that point or
no
a phone.
aim.
Yeah. I think I was like grounded from like reading.
Oh my God.
I was like just supposed to
Anything
sit.
you love.
Just to sit and be sad and like
Think
Only
about what you've
broccoli.
done.
what you did to him. And I
You
was
can
like,
only eat broccoli.
yeah, right. And lessons were learned. And you know what? In college, I never left anyone unconscious anywhere.
There you
If
go.
I saw someone unconscious, I was like, nope.
Lessons learned.
Wake up.
That's
You.
I am here. Becky is here now.
I'm here. Wake up.
Got you.
I wasn't like that physical, but I was very psychological.
Yeah.
So I used to like say things like, you were born from like an egg. Like we had you like in the fridge. And so she believed that like for the longest time. And then
so naughty.
And then she was like deathly afraid of needles, right? Like she hated going to the doctor to get like vaccines and shots and stuff. So I can't remember what she did, but I was really mad at her. So I put a note on her bed saying that I had put hundreds of needles in her bed.
You're so bad.
So I got in a lot of trouble for that. And my parents thought that I had actually done it. I'm like, are you kidding?
I thought you were
Where
like
am I going to get needles? First of all,
sewing needles.
where am I going to get needles? And put 100 of them in her bed. So that really like freaked her out for a while.
Oh my God.
You got in trouble.
Got in trouble for that big time. Yeah.
Were you grounded? Is that how your parents, were they grounders? I feel like our parents' generation was the grounding generation.
Grounding, yeah.
They were like,
My
"You're
parents never
grounded."
used
Grounded.
grounding.
Yeah, we were grounded.
They just, I think I was a pretty good kid. I was I never, and we never really had a curfew either.
Oh, that's nice.
It was very,
We definitely did.
Yeah, I had a curfew.
I was like a very responsible kid, and I set my own curfew where I would be like, Mom, Dad, I'm going out. I'll be back by, I don't know, 10. And they're like, okay.
Like, just let us know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really now thinking about that. I'm like, how did that work exactly? How did that work? Maybe they would have instituted.
If you had been like 1 a.m., they would have been like, no.
Yeah.
But because it was 10, they're like, okay, that's
pretty reasonable.
yeah.
Yeah. Even if I had said 1, they would have been like, okay, call us if you're drunk or need a ride.
Well, that's
nice. And it worked. So
We're still here.
Still here.
Here I am.
Still here.
So now I'm wondering, how do I take that and use it for my own kids? I don't know if it would work on other children. You know,
It's more responsible, I feel like.
because they definitely did the same thing with my sister, and she would stay out all night.
Did she ever get in trouble?
No, I mean, she got in trouble when my parents were like, "Where were you? We were worried about you."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, I was at Katie's house," or something like that. And I'm like, maybe call next time.
Interesting.
I'm probably making this seem a lot. Maybe my parents had a lot more discipline than I think that they did.
Maybe they made you
never
feel
actually
like.
occurred to me. Yeah, exactly.
They only made you feel like you had autonomy.
Right.
But secretly they knew.
Yeah.
They were like, we're going to give her all this freedom. So then she imposes her own curfew.
Or they like whisper in her ear every night, curfew's 10 p.m. Just like in the back of your head.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, curfew's 10 p.m.
Well, I guess it's 10. Love.
So good.
I really should be home by 10.
What do you imagine your mom's childhood was like? That's like a whole nother generation.
Yeah.
And their parents are another generation trying to parent them. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
Your mom was raised around horses, right?
Yeah. My mom was on a horse farm basically in upstate New York. So she was always doing farm things, chores,
Yeah.
horse chores.
Chores.
Yeah.
Could
All
see
the
that.
time. Lots of crazy like pictures, of just like animals, baby horses.
Do you think about how it like shaped your parents and how that has shaped you?
My mom always says that anything is like because we did horses, right? So anything good, like, oh, good grades because you did horses.
Because you just
I do feel like she said that when she was on this
Because you do like,
it's because you did horses.
it makes you like responsible and like,
does.
holds you accountable
That's
and all this
true.
stuff. She's like, oh, 'cause you did horses.
It's hard physical work.
Yeah.
But you do it for the animals. So,
Yeah.
Or the horses.
Yeah.
There's like a reason.
Yeah. And then my grandparents, they're like 60s party people. So they were always like martinis and cocktails and going out with friends and all that type of stuff,
That's fun.
It's like having those as your parents.
Mm-hmm.
That type of mentality in your household. Like,
Very social.
Constantly having people over and
yeah, like I remember my mom said that on their kitchen sink, they had a beer tap.
no.
Is that where you got the idea for yours?
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta have a tap.
Cool.
Gotta have a tap for your
Gotta
friends.
have a tap. Yeah.
That seems
Or your party's
like
over.
ahead of its time.
Yeah. Have it at home.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. My parents actually had a wet bar, even though they didn't drink. And there was usually like not alcohol, at least at our family parties, there wasn't alcohol. But when they had their friends over,
Yeah.
the bar was stocked.
Yeah.
That's great.
That was so funny. I was like, a wet bar seems like such a novel,
Yeah.
an odd thing to have in the living room.
Because also our moms grew up during kind of like the women's liberation movement and stuff. Because like my grandmother worked, but not a lot. So then, my mom was like one of the first ones to go to school, get her master's degree, have her own career, her own income.
Yeah, that was
in
the
the
same
family.
with Kim.
Yeah.
Same with my mom.
Go women.
Go moms. Go moms.
How
Women's
was
lib.
your mom raised? Are your parents both from the Chicago area too?
Yeah, because they met in high school.
Oh, that's so cute.
So my mom went to Catholic school when she was little. And then when her Catholic school closed, she went to public school. And that's where she met my dad. So they like knew each other's families really well. But I feel like I just like my parents always had jobs. Like that's what I hear about mostly with their childhood is having jobs. And my grandparents all worked. My mom's parents worked in factories until like, I don't know, a long time. They didn't retire for a while. And I think that's why my parents like wanted to retire early. Because they retired when how old was I? I was like 21 and they retired.
Wow.
And that's when I learned Obamacare does not cover you if your parents are working. And I had to find health insurance. But yeah, I think they were around people who worked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they worked a lot. Mm-hmm. Think about my mom's childhood though. She didn't drive a car. That was the one thing that I was like, this is crazy, Kim.
Really?
My mom did not get her driver's license until she was like 20. I think when she was either getting her master's or like in college. She was in her 20s.
Wow.
Huh. And to this day, does not pump gas. I'm spilling her secret. She does not pump gas. She thinks the gas thing's going to fall off.
I hate pumping gas too.
Yeah.
I've always hated it.
I always joke with her. I'm like, okay, what would you do? Like, let's say there's a terrible accident. Because when I was in high school, I would get gas from my mom. So I was like, what if I have a terrible accident? Your family's dead. We're all gone. You got to go pump gas by yourself. You're going to do it, right? And she's like, yeah, I would drive to the gas station. I would find a nice person at their pump and say, excuse me, my whole family is dead. And I just can't possibly pump this gas right now. Will you do it for me?
She's so funny.
Now you feel like, Mom, get an electric car.
All right. I'm like, just get a Tesla, Mom.
Plug it in.
Just
Mom.
plug it in.
I could totally see her saying that to you, and I can also see her doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Your mom would definitely do it.
Yeah.
No shame.
No shame. No, she would love to live in like Jersey or wherever they pump gas for you. She would be like a dream. A dream.
My mom grew up in a small town in the islands north of Seattle. So like in the San Juan Islands.
Yeah.
And so all I hear about is just like being a kid in the like wild, like blackberry picking and running barefoot. My mom has these like terrible, she has like plantar fasciitis or, something like that. Like she's got all these problems with her feet. And she's like, it's because I never wore shoes as a kid. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, checks out. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. And my great grandparents had a farm on the same island. And so they would go to my grandparents' farm and she never really rode the horses, but they would like pick the apricots from the trees and make all the like preserves and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And so it's all stories about, going and she had a job super, super early on, like middle school or early high school, where she was so my grandfather worked at a frozen foods plant. So she was a pea picker where she would pick out the bad peas off of the assembly line. Yeah.
You're a bad little pea. You're a bad little pea, you naughty
Sounds like
pea.
Becky wants this job.
You naughty little pea. Get out of here.
It's all very centered around like where she grew up. And then my parents met in college.
Collage.
My dad was dating my mom was dating my dad's roommate.
Ooh, saucy.
It might be the other way around. Maybe my dad was dating my mom's roommate. Anywho, and then they fell in love.
When did your parents meet, Matt? So you have high school, college.
Well, my dad's younger sister was my mom's older sister's best friend.
Aww.
So we're from the same town.
Oh,
that's
They all knew each
cute.
other. Yeah.
that's really cute.
When did they get together? Early or?
No, not
Like
until
more when they were
after
adults.
college.
Oh, okay.
Man.
Are there things that you would go to your mom for versus to go to your dad for?
100%. When I was little, if I wanted something, I went to my dad. 100%. 100%.
Like, I want candy.
If I wanted something, I would just be like, Dad.
Daddy's little girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even now, sometimes if I'm like, I really want ice cream.
Just make
I just look at him.
face.
Anybody? Anybody?
Or sometimes when I go home, I'll text them and I'll text my dad and be like, I wish I had coffee right now. With like open eyes.
Actually, this is actually a thing where there's two types of culture, and it's an asking culture or a volunteer culture, where like I'm definitely from a very asking culture. Like if I want something, I'm going to ask you for it.
Yeah.
Where a volunteer culture is exactly what you're talking about. It's like, I would really love to go to the movies this week. and then you're asking for someone else to volunteer that, and you feel like it's impolite to actually ask them outright. So you're giving them the opportunity to volunteer to do that for you. So then you're asking them directly. Whereas people who are the opposite find it rude when you're like, can you do like ice cream for me now? You know, like kind of like
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So it's kind of like how you're like, a lot of it has to do where you're from. Like a lot of the South is like very asking, or the South is very like volunteer, or like the Northeast is very like asking, just like, can you get me this? Give me that. Give me that.
I
or
was,
like, I
like,
can't
very
reach that on the
specific.
top shelf versus can you get that for me off the top shelf? You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm trying to think if I do that more or if it's just when I want something from my dad. I definitely think the most texted thing I have to my dad is what's the Hulu password?
Absolutely.
So I feel
Change
like
it again.
it's an asking culture in that way. Like, what's the password to this?
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I was raised in a volunteer culture, but I've learned that asking is easier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You
to
know?
be more direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've sort of trained myself to start doing that.
Did you have like the like easy parent, hard parent kind of thing where you were like, oh, if I'm in trouble, I'm going to call my dad, or if I'm in trouble, I'm going to call my mom because I know
was
one of
never in
them's
trouble.
not going to get mad.
I was never in trouble. That's
I
the
was never
thing.
in
I
trouble.
don't remember calling like one of my parents. I would definitely call my mom if I was fucked up. You know, like because my mom would be like, "Sup, girl?" Like,
South girl.
did you have a good time? You know, or you know, and my dad would kind of be like, "This seems like it's not a good situation."
Illegal.
I would say when I got my
This is
underage
illegal.
drinking ticket, I did call my dad
Oh, really?
and not my mom's phone. But they're always together. So like whenever I call one of their phones, they're always together.
Yeah.
They're together all the time.
Yeah, I guess if I needed help out of, because I did, when I first got my driver's license, I got like 4 speeding tickets in a row.
I also didn't
Just like
know.
wasn't paying attention, honestly.
We would be in the car and Matt would be calling his sister Katie. And I would jokingly say to Katie, like, oh, Matt drives me around. He's my chauffeur, because I'm always asking Matt, will you drive me somewhere? Or like if we're going somewhere, I'm like, let's just drive together. You can pick me up. I had no idea about his horrific driving history. Katie was like, you're really taking your life into your hands there. I was like, I have never heard anyone talk about Matt being a bad driver, but apparently bad driver. Speed demon.
Used to be. Not
Speed
anymore.
demon. Well, yeah, because the Tesla doesn't let you.
I mean, now I just slow down a little bit, you know, in life.
I get
You
it.
got to learn some lessons.
Recently, I've been listening to audiobooks, and I feel like when I get really into those, my go-to is to just be a little bit slower than everybody else. And I definitely have had the people go around me on the like
An HOV
on the
lane.
highway.
In the carpooling?
No, I've seen the error of my ways, and I've been trying to avoid the HOV lane
Yes,
for you
Mom.
guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mom.
If you have a kid in the car, though, does that count, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it counts if there's a kid in the car.
Yeah.
I also don't generally drive during like very trafficy times, you know? And so like the HOV lane goes as fast as the other ones.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Do you guys have specifics within your relationship and within your parents' relationship of who drives?
Usually my dad drives.
My dad
I was going to say,
normally
my
drives.
dad almost always drives, and Keith always drives.
Yeah. My dad is arguably a better driver than my mom. And I don't think it's like a gender thing. I think that it is just that like my mom gets distracted. And my dad, he slows down really slowly. So it's not like jerky or anything like that. Yeah, he's a very good driver.
Yeah. I think my mom and I are similar, that we both like being driven. We would prefer to not have the stress of driving. We would prefer to be driven. Always pay for parking, though.
I get car sick, so that's why I like to drive.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of depends.
That's true. I think Maggie's like that, too. I think she likes to
Yeah.
drive because she gets car sick.
Then I switch.
Switch it up.
Yeah. It's usually if somebody gets tired of driving. I don't actually get tired of driving. I could drive for hours and hours and hours and hours if I have like an audiobook or something to do while I'm driving. And sometimes I just think too. I like to like work through conversations that I've had with people or, like difficult queries. I do like long drives like that, but it has to be quiet. you know, so if I've got the kids in the back or something, it's kind of tough. But Ned gets tired and his legs start to get like
cramps.
achy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So he's like, can we switch?
The cruise control.
Got to get that cruise control.
He uses cruise control.
Do you guys ever go on? I feel like no one goes on road trips anymore. Do people go on road
I
trips?
love road trips.
I can't remember the last time I went on a road trip. I remember when I was growing up, we used to go on a road like at least once, a couple times a year.
Really?
Road trips.
Yeah.
Are we talking RVs or?
No, like in
a
your
van.
minivan going like 10 hours to go to Florida or something. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
that's what we did.
yeah.
Like to go to Florida.
Probably
No,
way
I never did
cheaper
that.
than to get on a plane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, probably.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The most recent road trip we did was during the pandemic because we were scared of flying.
Right.
So it was like,
Yeah.
let's just drive. It's less chances to see other people
That's true.
because we were going on a hike.
Yeah. There you go.
I didn't love it though. I'll tell you. Not the hike, the driving.
I know, that's what I mean.
not
Not
into
a
it.
Because
long
Ariel was
drive
talking about
person.
hours and hours of driving, and I'm like, oh, what a nightmare. And
like,
I'm
I don't
that's
think
what we
you
used to
could
do
do
when I was younger. We'd be stuck in the car for hours and hours and
I've
hours.
driven across the country multiple times.
Oh,
Oh yeah. I love it.
you do.
I love it. And it's just, it's.
Do you drive up to Washington to like see your family and stuff?
I would. I haven't recently. But I probably would. It's just it's kind of a waste
Takes a lot
of
of time.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you could do that in 16 hours where you could just fly and then just be
two.
there. Yeah.
That's true.
But
And
if
with
I
the
had
price
the
of gas,
time,
it's probably the same as a
yeah.
airline ticket right
Yeah.
now.
If I had the time,
short
I
flight.
think I would.
Yeah.
Just because I just enjoy it. I enjoy the
open
scenery and
road.
the road. Yeah. My dad does too. My dad loves driving.
Yeah.
Like even just silence in the car. He just sort of zones
Zones out.
and-
He takes his time.
Mm-hmm.
See, I feel like that's when I drive too fast. Like in Illinois, when I was going from my parents' house to
Especially when the roads
college,
are like straight.
the road was straight. It was one freeway, or not freeway, but a highway the whole time.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to look at. And that is where I got every speeding ticket I've ever gotten in my life.
Really?
Was on that drive.
Going 120
Either going, coming,
and a
or going
50.
back.
So we've gotten through the mom part.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
But we haven't talked about our
We
dad.
devolved.
Well, besides driving,
Yeah, besides,
besides
what
the
else
drive.
do you go? What
Yeah.
else do you go to your dad for? Do you go to him for like? I feel like a lot of people go for like financial
I
advice.
totally go to my dad for financial
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
And
That's what I do.
if I'm in a bind, I call my dad, especially in college. If I there was one time when I fully ran out of gas in my car.
Uh-oh.
Like, have you guys ever done that?
I did it in
I've
high
never
school.
done that. I was always so afraid.
I was
Yeah.
thinking to
I never
myself,
let it get that
how
low.
much of an idiot am I? I was just trying to push it. And it's just, my car just stopped.
They don't tell you that your car
don't tell
literally
you.
does just. You can't hit zero and it just stops. Your car
can't
stops
use
working.
the steering
Shoot.
wheel. The power steering
Yeah.
doesn't work anymore. And
my
I thought
God.
that the car had just like frozen up. And I was driving up a hill. And so it started going down the hill. And so I had to manually yank the wheel over so that I like kind of backed off the road. And I was
Yeah.
like, I am an idiot. Yeah. And then I called my dad and I was like, Dad, I ran out of gas and my car just broke.
He's like, duh.
He's like, well, yeah. It
like,
doesn't
that's how
have gas
cars
to
work.
work itself.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would always call my dad for that kind of stuff if I like had a problem.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, can you please fix it for me or tell me how I can fix it?
Yeah. That and fixing like stuff around the house too. Like my dad was very handy, so he could fix all the stuff around the house. I'm like, this
sure.
broke. How do I do this?
Yeah.
How do I do this?
A broken toilet. I call my dad and be like, what do I do? What do I do, Dad?
What next?
He's like, well, is it the plunger or is the chain hooked or?
It's like the original
Oh, yeah.
YouTubes, you know?
It is. Yeah.
The
You call your
original
dad.
YouTube is calling your dad.
The original
calling your
YouTube.
dad.
Yeah.
Because that's
That's so
that's
true.
how I learn everything nowadays. I feel like I look on
YouTube?
YouTube. I'm like, how do I do this? I don't know.
Oh,
Let
yeah.
me find videos.
100%.
There's some expert telling you what to do.
Yeah.
You know?
I still ask my dad. And then he looks it up on the internet.
What 2 words would you use to describe your dad?
I think he's a hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
Hard worker.
That was gonna be one for my dad because
Yeah.
he's an entrepreneur, so he was always
Uh-huh.
you know getting these businesses up and running and stuff. So he was always working a lot. So he was a very hard worker, and he's also very even tempered. I think that's where I get my even temperament is from my dad.
Everything that you guys are saying about your dads, I feel like I could say about my dad too.
Aren't all dads the same?
That's so funny.
Are all dads the same dad?
Like
Do we have the
very
same dad?
even-tempered, very hard worker. I feel like he was always working, and so those are the things that come to mind. But my dad was also he was like a traveler. He lit up when we traveled. Like you're laughing because it sounded like he like lit up. I was like, no.
Ariel's dad.
No, he just his joy was in that kind of adventure of like learning different things and like being in those exciting situations and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was always a part of my dad that I loved and kind of, I respected him for his even temper and how hard he worked and how he always has an answer to everything. Yeah. And he was always, like, well, you should just make sure that your credit score is, I'm like 13 and he's telling me like, okay, well, just make sure that you're paying all your credit cards. And I'm like, okay, Dad, you got it.
Ariel's like going to CVS.
Did he travel a lot when he was younger?
He traveled a lot when he was younger. Like right out of high school, he took a backpacking trip because my grandfather, who I never met, actually, my dad's dad died when he was 17. My grandfather had been in World War II as a pilot. And when he was shot down, he was taken in by a German family.
Wow.
And like hidden, and he fell in love with the daughter, but it couldn't happen, obviously. And so when he came back to the States, my grandmother was waiting for him. And so this is where the story gets a little murky, but apparently he told my grandmother everything. And she was, she was like, okay, like, I'm glad that they saved you. I get it that you love this person.
Were they already married at this point? Your grandma and your grandpa?
I can't remember. I don't know.
Or they might have just been dating.
They might have just been dating and then they got married after.
Okay.
They definitely didn't have kids at this point.
Oh,
but
what about our German woman? What happened to her?
She's still in Germany. And so my dad went and visited them.
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because they like kept corresponding. Yeah.
Wait, your grandma is a like strong-willed woman.
She was a very strong-willed woman.
Seriously.
Very strong.
Her husband would still write letters to someone that he was
This
in
sounds
love
like it would be a
with.
Lifetime movie.
It does.
Or like a Hallmark movie.
I know. I mean,
Right?
And I'm of course hearing it like third hand or whatever. So I'm probably hearing the idealized version or the like love story version. But yeah, isn't that wild? So my dad went and stayed with them.
That's crazy.
In Germany.
Wow.
And they're like family friends. Yeah.
All these years later.
Yeah. And so, but my dad, he was telling me about how you would go backpacking in Europe when he was young.
Yeah.
So in the
Hitchhike.
50s or 60s. Yeah, hitchhiking. And you would just show up with no reservations.
Yeah.
And there would be people at the train station who would just be like, you can stay in my room, you can stay in my house. And they'd be like, okay, you. And you would go and you would stay at somebody's house.
That is so wild.
And he went with one of his friends from high school who was a woman. And he was like, like we would stay together. There were times when she would stay at somebody's place and I would stay at somebody else's place. And like, he was always
No phones. Meet at
exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
10 a.m. at the train station.
Yeah. And I'm
3
just thinking to
days.
myself, like she was like traveling for part of the time as a woman by herself. I don't know.
so scared.
But so back to my dad, he just loved that stuff. He loved traveling.
Yeah.
And like,
So cool.
and so when we moved, that was like the thing that he had wanted to do with his life. And he had told my mom that, because for my mom, her job was really important. And so to convince her to leave her job, to move across the world,
Across the pond.
that was like, my dad wanted to do that for his entire life, just live in Europe with his family. And he finally got to do it. And it was just like, this is amazing.
Living the dream.
Yeah. No, I know.
That's
It
cool.
just takes a certain type of person.
Yeah.
I remember my dad, before he got together with my mom, he had a motorcycle and a long beard the whole, leather jacket, everything. And he used to motorcycle like across country.
Really?
And just pick up like odd jobs and stuff. Yeah.
What kind of odd
So
job?
he lived like all over the place.
Wow.
Well, entrepreneur.
Yeah. Entrepreneur. Yeah. I don't know. But he would talk about, when I used to spend my time in it's like near San Diego or something, or like in Arizona. I'm like, what? I didn't even know you've ever been there before. So his motorcycle
I didn't know
days.
you ever been there.
Back in his motorcycle days.
Did his motorcycle
His
have a
hippie
name?
motorcycle days.
Like, does he refer to it as like a friend?
And does he still have it?
He doesn't. No. But I remember when we were like in elementary school, he bought another motorcycle, and it's when my mom, my sister and I were away, and we came back, and he had bought one when we were gone.
What?
Yeah.
Was Betsy happy
Betsy was
about
mad.
it?
Betsy was very mad. So he had a motorcycle a couple of years when we were growing up, but that was it.
Wow. Did you ever ride on it? Did you ever let you ride
Like on the back, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's why I have my Vespa now.
Yeah.
Vespa is my version
You got the need for speed
of
from
my
Steve.
dad's motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Love that.
Yeah, did your dad have a crazy
Well,
crazy past?
He was a
Yeah.
bad boy when he was little. That's all
Yeah.
I hear from my mom. And
Really?
him. He was a bad boy.
Bad boy.
I don't know what he was doing, but he was a bad boy, apparently. No, my parents.
Dawn.
I know. They got together when they were like 16, 17. And then my mom, I think they both went to college or started college at the same time, but my dad didn't finish college. So and my mom was going on to get her master's. So there were, things going on there. But my dad actually went back to college when I was 10. So I went to my dad's college graduation.
Aw, that's cute.
Yeah.
That is so fun.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah. But no, I don't think he had any I don't know. He was, I don't know. I just,
Crazy stories.
he was like a bad kid. I don't know. I don't want to share the stories.
Oh,
But
Naughty
yeah.
Dawn.
someday.
Kim kept him, in line.
You have to get them to share this story
Yeah.
someday.
I don't know. He was probably doing something. That's why I was like, when I got my underage drinking ticket, I was like, I'm
Mafia.
calling my dad, not my mom.
He was in the
I'm calling my
mafia.
dad.
You're from
Yeah.
Chicago. This is the mafia.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
He was with what's his name? Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a
Mafia.
Teamster.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, but no crazy. I don't think they ever did cross country things, either of them. They just went to school and went to work.
I could see your parents getting an RV and driving it across country now.
Oh no, my mom, she has a very strict policy. She is not a turtle. She will not bring her home on her back.
Really?
She says, I'm not a
It's like my
turtle.
mom would not do it either.
Yeah.
There's no way.
So I'm not a turtle.
So just absolutely no RVs.
No.
Would you do an RV or do you
No.
have?
No, you
so funny.
shower in the same place that you're going to use the bathroom, and the water is semi recycled in some way, which I guess is good for the environment. But I could only think of it as poop water. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Matt, what about you?
I could do an RV. It was a nice
do an
one.
RV.
I don't want one of the makeshift van things, but I could do a proper RV.
Oh, would you redo a Sprinter van with me? That's a
would
current
we-
fascination of
What
mine.
would we do with it though?
Sprint.
Then we would take it across the
Sprint.
country.
Yeah, but that one is kind of where do you put the shower? Then
There's no
you're
shower.
always-
You just throw water on yourself.
There's no shower. You take a shower in the composting toilet, actually.
There's no toilet either. No, you it's more of a place to sleep, and you go to a truck stop or something to shower, and it's a very light way to travel.
You want to go to the truck stop.
You want to go to the truck stop?
No, unless it's that really big one that's in Iowa. That's the only one I want to go to. It's the world's largest truck stop. That
Becky,
one was fun.
You also feel similarly about cruises, correct? You will not go on a cruise.
Guys, we all saw Titanic when we were little.
Okay, so on that, Eugene's been on this big kick about watching YouTube videos about sunken cruise ships. It's insane.
Yeah.
Out of half of them, the captain abandons the ship before everyone's off.
No.
Yes, it's crazy. So if there's a problem with your cruise ship, you get to the top deck immediately and you wait.
You go.
You don't go anywhere else. You be one of those first lifeboats.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the ship starts to tip, and then if it tips so far, the lifeboats on the other side can't get down. So that's how a lot of people get stranded on them because they can't launch all the lifeboats.
Yeah.
They physically can't do it. It's scary.
What?
Yeah.
And there are so many illnesses that are spread on cruises. Does anybody remember the poop cruise from a few years back?
Yeah.
pre-COVID. There was a cruise ship. Something happened on this cruise ship where they lost power. People started getting ill.
Right. It was like a norovirus type
We're
of thing.
talking like a norovirus or something like that, where they are exiting both ways, in the hallway, over the side of the ship, everywhere. There was poop everywhere.
Poop cruise.
After hearing about the poop cruise, it's solidified for me.
Poop
There
cruise.
are 0 things you could say to get me to go on a cruise. 0. There's a 0% possibility that my feet will ever step on a cruise ship. No.
I think I would do like one that's going to be kind of like near the coastline still, but doing like a transatlantic cruise or like something to Hawaii or something. I think that's like
I
You're
used to
in
go
the
on cruises all the
vastness,
time as a
you
kid.
know?
I loved them. They had water slides. It was all you could eat. You know, like my sister and I would just run wild on the cruise ship because there's nowhere to go.
except overboard.
Exactly. There's nowhere to go but the ocean.
And my parents
Except
could like
overboard.
hang out
Overboard.
and do their own thing. And, you know, like,
Yeah.
I just remember them being so fun. So fun. And we didn't go on the nice ones. We went on like the Carnival cruise or the
Is it
Disney
like one of
cruise.
those? It's like
The
one of those
Disney
things where you
cruise.
look back and like if you did it as an adult, like have you ever gone to a water park as an adult?
But I kind of want
No,
to.
just me. Okay.
No comment.
Wow. They're not what you remember them to be.
I'm sure.
They are filthy. I went to a
Yeah.
water park like 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, you're not supposed to drink the water.
Well, I didn't drink the water. I was just looking in the water as I went on my water slides.
Just Band-Aids floating by.
So many Band-Aids. That's literally what it was Band-Aids and hair ties everywhere.
That's disgusting.
And they would just waft around.
I'm sure that eventually
Gross.
they get sucked into the,
Maybe.
drains or something.
But
High
then,
chlorine,
would you,
high chlorine.
Yeah, looking on those cruises that you did as a kid, would you look back at them now and be like, yes, let's go?
I still do that.
Ariel's ready. Ariel's
I
ready to
think
go
to
on a
myself,
cruise.
So do you,
like,
when are you booking your next
How am
cruise?
I going to convince Becky to go on a cruise with me? Like,
No way.
oh my gosh, can
Oh
you
my god,
imagine?
it's a surprise. We're like, Becky, pack your bags. We're leaving on a trip for 3 days only. It's only gonna be 3 days, but it's gonna be warm. So bring
I
your
would be
bathing
jumping.
suit. We get there. We get to the dock, and we're like, guess what?
It's
Surprise.
the perfect
You're on
girls
a
trip.
cruise.
It's the perfect
You're going
girls
on a
trip
cruise.
because you wake up and you're in the Bahamas. You know, it's so fun. It's so fun.
You wake up and you're just rocking,
it's
getting
like,
slightly nauseous.
It would not be the perfect one for Maggie because she gets very seasick.
Yeah.
But they're just so fun.
Do Maggie's surprise bachelorette party
On a cruise.
on a cruise. And I'll meet you guys at all the destinations.
You have to go on.
And if you get sick on the boat, you can just come to my hotel.
Matt, it's just you and me on the
Right?
cruise,
I guess
apparently.
so.
Cruise babies.
Cruise babies.
Cruise babies.
Cruising. I would do another cruise.
100%.
I would like to go on like a really fancy one.
Oh, I was going to say the trashier the better. Absolutely.
Because I've done a carnival cruise. We did it when we graduated, like the whole our class went
Yeah.
on.
Your whole class.
Well, it was from college, so it's
Oh, that's fun.
different. But that was really fun. But that was trashy carnival cruise.
Yeah.
So I'd like to go on a really fancy one.
What's
It's,
like the
really good
top
food,
tier? Like
really
what's
good.
the Titanic if it didn't sink?
Gosh, probably like the Viking cruises or
Viking.
they do like small
Princess.
yacht cruises and stuff.
Yeah, it's
So you
super
could-
yacht. That's what we need to get on.
Super yacht.
You need to get on the. Have you guys heard about the World?
You told us about the world because of Judge Judy.
Because I would never have known about it without Judge Judy.
Yeah.
So when I worked at the hotel, Judge Judy lived there. And I would talk to her and her husband, who I just learned passed away recently. Judge Jerry.
Sad.
Judge Jerry.
They're both judges.
And I was talking to Judge Jerry once because he used to come in all the time in the mornings, and he was a very chatty old bird. And he was like, we're talking about something. I don't know. He was like talking about something rich people talk about. I don't know what it was. It was something about like money. And he was like, well, what's really fun is this boat called the World. And all the people that work on the boat, you don't tip anyone because they're all compensated very well. And he's like, everybody's kind of like a vagabond traveler. Like all the people that work on the World.
They're so happy to be there.
They're happy to be there because they're getting all these, trips to these really like fun places on like a super luxury liner. But it's basically like something that like uber wealthy people buy like a room on the world, and the world is always traveling, and they would just fly to whatever the location that the world was going to be at and then go like for a month.
Oh my God.
And then they'd hop off and fly home. Yeah. Like it has sort of like a predestined log of places that it's going, and you could meet there. And I was like, wow.
They're like, we're going to hop on the world for the Italy part of.
Yeah, essentially. It was like, I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is a new level of rich people.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But it was fun to hear about. And then I would be like, can I take your cereal bowl out of the way? Thank you. Boop, boop, boop. But yeah, I feel like, I guess
ready.
maybe
Let's
the
try to
world is
find
the
the
only
world.
one that I would
Let's
go
try to
on.
find where in the world
Maybe
is
I'd
the
go
world.
on the world. Yeah. I wonder if the world is still around.
Did you
I
ever,
feel like
did you ever Google
Krause's-
it to like see what the deal was?
Cruises. I've Googled a picture of the world before because I wanted to see what it looked like. The world
just-
ship.
It's just like all mirrors. It's like invisible, so you can't see it. Yeah,
right. Residences at sea. It's 165 private luxury residences.
Residencies.
The cost is $980 million.
What?
Yeah. People pay $7 million to live on the world's largest ship. Oh, no. This is the world's largest ship. This isn't the world. Oh, no, it is.
The world.
The world is the world's largest ship. So it's bigger than a cruise ship?
Yeah, it's MS The World. It's a 43,000 ton.
43,000 is a lot. Like most cruise ships are like, what, 27?
Yeah.
Whoa.
First of all, you have to prove your net worth exceeds $5 million.
So everybody on this ship is just uber wealthy.
Yeah. And then add another 10 to 15% of the purchase price for annual maintenance and other fees based on your apartment size.
The apartment sizes are giant. Like they're like full couches, like bars, like spiral staircases.
They range in size from 337 to 3,000 square feet.
Wow.
337 square feet. That's pretty small.
That's pretty small.
Yeah. Pets and tipping are not allowed. I remember the tipping.
No pets?
No pets.
What about a service animal?
12 decks, 4 restaurants, 3 bars, a cigar lounge, boutique and showroom, grocery store, deli, fitness center, billiards room, golf simulator and putting greens, full-size tennis court, jogging track, spa, swimming pool, theater, and library.
Everything you need, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, nightly performer of jazz or a pop artist.
Or a pop artist. They just got like Joe Jonas.
Right?
I don't know.
Come on for a night to the
Landing
world.
on the world.
It's so cool.
Would you go on that?
Maybe.
I would go.
If it was that big, you probably wouldn't even be
I'd
able
probably
to
be
feel
working.
the like rocking of the ocean.
Yeah.
That's what they said, is you don't.
Because it's just so big.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay, well, that's all I've Googled about the world now. So everyone should know.
Fascinating.
Isn't that crazy? Like,
There's so many things probably
That's
that uber
crazy.
rich people do that we have no idea about.
I know, right? It's like
Yeah.
the secret lives of the uber
Secret
uber
lives
wealthy.
of the rich and famous.
Yeah.
Cribs.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see the crib of their crib on the luxury cruise.
Wow.
That sounds fascinating.
But anywho, that story about our parents turned into luxury cruises. You know, we hit a lot of topics today.
It's hard not to when you're talking about your parents.
That's true. They've all lived lives.
True.
And
So many
all of our
interests.
parents listen to this podcast. So hi, Mom.
Yeah, right.
Hi, Mom. Love you.
My parents did ask that for our future call signs after we say to, you know, get vaccinated, pee after sex, we should add call your parents.
Okay.
Go for it.
I'm
So
in.
I was like,
Take us away, Becky.
I'll do it. I'll
Take us
do it.
away.
I'm very obedient. Thank you guys so much for listening this week. We hope you enjoyed this episode that went all around the world.
Ooh.
Make sure you're liking, subscribing, downloading. Make sure you're wearing your mask, getting vaccinated for everything that you can get vaccinated for right now. And pee after sex, and call your parents or someone else
Call
in
'em
your
up.
life
A
that you
text,
love.
Something.
Shoot them a something.
Reach
Well,
out.
Yeah, reach out. Reach out to someone you love. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.